Hi, this is Brandon Smiley from thirstgym.com. Today we're going to have an exercise called the machine Pec Dec Fly, particularly for your chest. So we're going to talk about the anterior portion of this exercise. This is great for isolating the pec musculature, definitely good old-fashioned bodybuilding-based exercise, and a great way to get some extra volume into your pecs if you happen to need that for your training program. The machine version is awesome. I love the way it feels. I think you get a great contraction from it. It's relatively safe so long as you keep your shoulders in good positions and you kind of know how to use the machine. But you definitely got to make sure, like I said, you've got things set up correctly. But a great way to finish off a chest training session or help bring your pecs up to help build your upper body. So the first thing here is that this is like a standard, most people will call this like a reverse pec deck machine or a pec deck machine. You can perform your chest or rear delts on it. So we're talking about the chest version here. So really the arms are going to swing depending upon where you need them and your mobility. So I know for me, I'm in the third hole here on ours. And then these handles swing as well to give you a little bit of variety, as well as the seat usually moves up and down. So shorter athletes like myself need a higher, taller are going to have it a little bit lower. And then as well, obviously we got selectorized plate stack on ours, but depending upon where you have access to, that might change as well. So really, really simple. Some machines are really nice and they've got a foot pedal that you can push on and it kind of like moves the handles forward a little bit. You take it off and it releases the catch. This one's a little bit older, doesn't have that amenity. But the big thing is to make sure you find a comfortable place for your hands and that you're not overstretching your pecs to get there. So that's how I know the third position here is usually good enough for me to get going. Some people to get going will take one, they'll come back over here to the other and start. Some people just have a good enough shoulder mobility to where they start, they're going to feel okay here. So if we start back here, the main thing is to make sure that your hands are about shoulder height. Okay, we don't want it too low and we don't want it too high, just right around the shoulder joint. So for me, I know personally I'm in the bottom one for this one, the bottom handle option. I'm going to try to keep my back pushed flat, okay? We don't want to overextend and overarch. We want to try to push our low back, keep our pelvis relatively neutral as we push into that, and that automatically makes it feel better. I can tell that when I'm like this, I feel more of a stretch on my pecs, or if I come here and I have my ribs down, everything feels relatively fine and normal. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to take my arms and bring them together. I'm going to keep my palms facing each other. I really like to try to emphasize my pinky side, almost feel like they're coming together. That's going to externally rotate. We're going to get a little bit more flex of the pec by being able to bring it here versus having my hands or my arms internally rotated. That's going to feel a better contraction, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. By all means, you can just bring your hands together. But back flat, bring them together, brief pause, and then back down. So you want to make sure you go back far enough, you get a good stretch, but not so far that it's past your limitations. And as we get that stretch, we want to make sure we're not like externally rotating and trying to arch and get further back. Keep those ribs down, back flat, and come together. When it comes to programming these, you got a lot of options depending upon where it's at in your training program. I really like this for higher reps, usually to prevent any kind of major catastrophe and pec tears and things like that. I think 10 to 20 repetitions is a great place to be for this. Really get a lot of blood in there and a lot of volume. Help build the pec tendons up, especially if you are a power lifter or a strength athlete. That's a very important thing. I think this machine's great because it's going to limit your degrees of freedom because you're on a machine, but also the fact that it's going to help build the pec tendons up, get the volume in the pecs, usually which a place isn't as targeted with something like powerlifting or strongman. You can certainly go a little heavier, but like I said, I just think the risk for the reward isn't really there. Maybe some 8s, but I think anything below 8 on a pec deck is absolutely ridiculous. You can also implement things like partials and drop sets and things like that with a machine like this. Super easy to do and definitely different in a way to do some extended work if you would happen to need it and you're doing something relatively like a hypertrophy program or something. So if you have any questions about the Pec Dec machine and how to use it, some of your favorite drop sets or things like that, feel free to let me know in the comment section and have a great day.